Hey everybody, I wanted to share something with you from Terence McKenna real quick. Now, Terence McKenna obviously was a very, very intelligent man. Many people know this. He used psychedelics to help him tap into the veil beyond. It's not always necessary to use those, but he did. And he also, just for clarification, didn't recommend that you abuse them, but to use them only for spiritual purposes. But I wanted to read something to you real quick from him, and it's from Invisible Landscapes. And I want to show you that he was indeed connected to understanding Qabalah as well. And then what I'm going to do at the very end of this, after I read this to you, is I'm going to play something for you from Enter the Zohar by Kabbalah Info, that you can actually find this channel on YouTube. And what you'll see are the similarities between what McKenna is saying and what he's saying in this video regarding creation. Now, creation, as I've said before, exists and starts in kind of the invisible realm. And if you think of a tetractys at the very top of that triangle, it starts there and it kind of branches out like a tree, eventually breaking into physical manifestation and the cosmos and what have you. And so this is seen in the Tetractys. This is also seen in the Great Pyramid, because the very, very tip of the Great Pyramid, the very top or the very apex, is missing. And it's missing on purpose, because the symbolism there is to show you how the physical universe disappears into the unseen universe. I can show you that here in a particular quote from Blavatsky. Here with Blavatsky we see in Isis Unveiled, she says, "The peculiar architecture of the pyramids shows in itself the drift of the metaphysical thought of their builders. The apex is lost in the clear blue sky of the land of the pharaohs and typifies the primordial point." And think about that primordial point. Think about that top of the triangle, the top of the where the eye is, right? Where Kether is. This is the first manifestation into physical reality, and then we have the cosmos down here. So she says, the primordial point, lost in the unseen universe, which I just described, from whence started the first race of the spiritual prototypes of man. The nebula is that first manifestation that we see into physical reality. And let me quote something from The Ladder of Lights by William G. Gray. Now, I won't read all of this to you, but I'll give some of this to you. And as I've shown you before, inside of these cathedrals, at the high altar, what they're showing you is they're showing you a breaking into manifestation here, which would be the high altar, and then zigzagging down the tree. This area down here being the area where you come into the cathedral. So you come into the cathedral and you reach the heart. All the way up here is the high altar. That represents Kether, and that is where we normally see the nebula in these cathedrals. In William G. Gray here in The Ladder of Lights, he says this in chapter 13, Sephira Kether, the crown, the summit, and that represents this nebula. It says, in the world of Asiya, which is our physical manifestation, it's the world of expression, it's called the prima mobile, and it's also called the nebula. And I'm not going to read all this, but I'll read part of it to you. The treetop at last. Here we are at the very apex of the middle pillar, where we can make no further progress on the tree of life unless we leave it altogether into nothing above or fall back to Malkuth and start all over again. Unless we have grown wings during our upward journey, we can follow the latter course. I'll go ahead and read some more of this to you. Kether not only signifies a crown in the regal sense, but also the summit of any height, especially a mountain or a pillar or a pyramid. It has an implied meaning of surrounding anything in a friendly manner, and in this proverb it says, the prudent put on the knowledge of doth. Okay, so doth is right here, and he put it on as a crown. So doth, in a way, is a crown, just like Kether is, except doth is kind of the, it is taking the wisdom and the understanding and organizing it into something that is knowledge that you can actually do something with, where this is kind of abstract in the Kether area. If you've ever seen those things where people put their fingers together and they put their forefingers and their thumbs together, creating a triangle, and the rest of their fingers kind of creates a crown, that's what that is referring to when you see that symbolism. It says this gives a nice picture of the supernals together with the crown of Kether ornamenting the prudent heads, Hokmah Bina, that have reached a position of knowledge of Dath. And I've shown you before, as you rise up this tree, by combining these two together, you get Dath here, which is also a version of Kether, which is what you see up here. It says some modern Kabbalists have made the attribution of Uranus to Kether, although this can scarcely be a really ideal one. The nebula is what we consider Kether. Now let me read to you what Terence McKenna has to say real quick. And this will show you that he has an understanding of Qabalah, which you'll find that most of these guys that do a lot of studying, this is what they understand, and you begin to understand the psychology of the universe, and as it breaks into manifestation, and you can see the similarities between it and man. It says the unformed archetypes of the collective unconscious, which Carl Jung also goes into, which I've also described before, may be the holographic substrate of the species mind. Each individual mind brain is then like a fragment of the total hologram. But in accordance with the holographic principles, each fragment contains the whole. It will be, so this is exactly what we see when we take a look at the tetractys, because at the very tip we have this one mind, but then it divides itself into many, just like a tree trunk divides itself into many branches. It says it will be remembered that each part of a hologram can reconstruct the entire image, but that the details of the image will deteriorate in proportion to its fragmentation, while the overstructure will remain. Out of this feature, holography arises the quality of individual point of view and, in fact, individuality itself. If each mind is a holographic medium, then each is contiguous with every other because of the ubiquitous distribution of information in a hologram. Each individual mind would thus be a representation of the essence of reality, but the details could not be resolved until the fragments of the collective hologram were joined. So when you think about the tetractys and you think about how it breaks into the whole triangle that goes all the way down to the physical universe, when all those come together and join back up into the single one again, then you get your detailed hologram back again. So with that, I'm going to leave you with this real quick, and you can listen to what he has to say, and you will see that Adam, or Adam, is basically the same as the Son of God, which is Jesus Christ. It's just in a different form. So when we hear about it in the Old Testament and we hear about Adam, we're almost kind of talking about what Jesus is being referred to, or I would say not necessarily Jesus, the historical figure, but the Christ, because the Christ is actually the Son of God, which moves down through the spiritual universe, through mind, and then breaks into the physical cosmos. And the whole cosmos, you and everything around you, are fragments of that total hologram that broke through into physical manifestation. So I'll leave this with you guys. You guys have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.
Cobb TV. Watch your life make sense.
When you read a really great book, you get pulled into the story. After a while, you don't even feel that it's a story that you're reading. You're just living it. It's in your sensations. You become not just the hero, but all the characters and all the events. Your sensation enters and animates everything, and you live out the drama of all the connections and all the conflicts. The cover will tell us who wrote a book, but it never tells us who's reading the book, and why should it? I mean, we never ask. But with the Zohar, it's totally different. You see, if you don't ask that question about who's reading, then you don't know what you're reading about. What is Wellman talking about? Come on, obviously it's me reading the book. Yeah, but what is that me? You're a body, and that private thing inside of it with its own feelings, its own ideas, its own desires. You're one of billions of me's, and you're all competing for survival and pleasure and love. You've got family, a couple friends, a bunch of acquaintances. That's pretty much all the connection you can take. As far as those other billions are concerned, they don't have anything to do with your me. As long as they don't threaten what you have, take what you need, well, it's a great, big, beautiful world. Live and let live. What's mine is mine. What's yours is yours. But You remember when we learned that the Zohar isn't a book, or it's not an object among other objects? Well, neither are you. And the Zohar isn't written for an individual reader, because there's no such thing. Underlying the countless people, objects, and phenomena we see in the world, there's only two things that exist. An unchanging creative law called Boré, creator, giving force, and two, a single creature the law built that contains the entire cosmos and everything in it, called Adam, the desire to receive, or the collective soul. They're not really two things, but they're two sides of the same force. Adam means resemblance, and depending on the quality of connection between the creator and Adam, how different or alike they are, that's what projects everything we feel as either the physical things surrounding us or our private inner life. The creation didn't end with the appearance of the creature. It wasn't even the starting point. The creation that we see happened when, in order to give the creature independence, the giving force shattered the original desire to receive into billions of desires, each with a dormant spark inside of it that's still connected to the others. There is only one creature, and it's built like a hologram, with each isolated lonely me part containing within it every other me plus the whole. No matter how it looks on the outside, humanity is one creature, and it's evolving as a whole. Your me isn't just you. It just thinks it is. You pick up and open the Zohar at the turning point of creation, and the one reading the book is the collective soul with amnesia. Okay, if that's so, then how come the more connected we get, the worse it seems to get? I mean, why has globalization turned into worldwide crisis and conflict? I'll tell you, we built a totally interdependent world, and there's no place left to grow. There's nowhere left to run. We're being forced to turn around now and live in it. And it's the wrong kind of world for what we've become. We're connected on the outside and hating it on the inside. And we can't see a future because we can't imagine how we can live in an interdependent world if what we are is self-love. Because even if you tell me that I'm not going to survive unless I actually care about the others, I'm still not able to do it. But now for the good news. Finally, we've actually revealed our true identity, who we really are. Okay, it's the negative side of it, but at least we can see it, and at least we can start working with it. And the extra layer of self-love, it's an illusion. We can connect above it if we really want to, but you can't change it on your own because you're not on your own anymore. Remember, you're actually that hologram. So what everyone wants and values will influence you and everyone else. In fact, none of my feelings and thoughts and my needs, they don't even originate in me. That's who's reading the book. A piece of the hologram coming to terms with its identity. That's who needs the Zohar. That's who searched for this course. That's who opened the video. That's who clicked play. That's who you are. So be who you are. The only way to do it is to influence the hologram. You influence the hologram to influence you. That way, the whole thing changes, and the best part of it is, you do it without focusing on your me. The key to doing that, it's called love your neighbor as yourself. Later.